It shows that Changunarayan was already developed as an important sacred place long before his time. There are various myths and legends regarding the origin of Changunarayan. As detailed in the Vansavalis, Changu had already been established as a sacred site around 3rd century AD. The Ichangu inscription of Vijaya Kamdev, dated 1199 AD, informs that the temple was built by the king Haridatta Varma, happened to be 9th generations before Mandev. The time of Haridatta Varma is estimated as early as 325 AD. During Lichavi period, Changunarayan was also known as Dola Shikhar, which refers to a mount or hill in the shape of Doli. Gopal Raj Vansavali and the Changu inscription also mention it as Changu, a Newari word that refers to swing like hill. But the evidences show that this particular place was popular as Changunarayan from the earliest time, and the same name exists in the society till present. This two-storied temple is of basic Nepalese design with possible emphasis given to masterful ornamentation. The temple may have passed through series of restoration. The present structure was probably constructed in the 17th century. Changunarayan is regarded as one of the masterpieces of Nepalese temple architecture. The older elements have been incorporated during the restorations.
Protesters attacked a government building in the city of Fasa in southern Iran on December 31, according to local officials. The incident occurred amid spontaneous protests reported in several parts of the country, driven by public frustration over economic stagnation and rising living costs. Iran's Justice Ministry quoted the head of Fasa's judiciary as saying that part of the provincial governor's office door and glass were damaged during the attack. Authorities did not specify how the building was attacked or whether any arrests were made. Videos circulating on social media showed damage to the site, though the footage could not be independently verified. Turkish security forces have arrested 8 people in the southeastern province of Sanurfa over alleged online propaganda linked to the Islamic State group. Authorities say the suspects shared and promoted content praising IS on social media platforms. The investigation followed a recent counter-terrorism operation in the northwestern province of Yalova, prompting intensified nationwide monitoring of extremist online activity. Police units from Sanurfa's counter-terrorism department carried out coordinated raids with support from Turkey's National Intelligence Organization. All 8 suspects were taken into custody and later formally arrested by a court. Turkey has carried out frequent operations against IS-linked networks in recent years, citing ongoing security threats from the group. Libya says the United Kingdom has agreed to analyze the black box from a plane crash in Turkey that killed a senior Libyan military delegation. The crash on December 23 claimed the life of Libya's army chief Mohammed al-Haddad along with other officials. Libyan authorities say the analysis is expected to help determine the cause of the crash. The aircraft went down while the delegation was traveling outside Libya, though further details have not been publicly released. Officials have not indicated how long the investigation may take. The incident has drawn attention in Libya due to the senior status of those killed and ongoing efforts to stabilize the country's security institutions. Flags of European Union member states were seen flying across central Nicosia as Cyprus assumed the EU's rotating presidency on January 1. The presidency, which lasts 6 months, gives Cyprus the role of chairing meetings and helping set priorities for the EU's legislative agenda. Cyprus, an EU member since 2004, takes over the role at a time when the bloc faces challenges ranging from economic pressures to regional security concerns. Officials say the presidency will focus on cooperation, stability, and policy coordination among member states. The rotating presidency changes hands every 6 months among EU countries. Ceremonial displays were held in the capital to mark the start of Cyprus's term. Sri Lanka has been named among the world's happiest travel destinations for 2026, according to a new happiness list released by adventure travel company G Adventures. The ranking is based on feedback from more than 8,000 international travelers, focusing on destinations that promote emotional well-being and meaningful experiences. Travelers highlighted Sri Lanka's southern coastal sailing experience, praising its tranquil beaches and strong connections with local communities. The recognition reflects a global shift towards slow and culturally immersive travel rather than fast-paced sightseeing. Sri Lanka appears on the list alongside destinations such as Iceland, Guatemala, Ecuador, and Panama's San Blas Islands. G Adventures say nearly 90% of the travelers believe travel plays a key role in long-term happiness. Residents in the western German city of Gelsenkirchen say they are shaken after thieves pulled off one of the country's biggest bank heists in recent years. Police say more than 3,000 safe deposit boxes were emptied at a local savings bank, with valuables estimated at around 30 million euros, including cash, jewelry, and family heirlooms. The bank has been shut until further notice as investigators examine how the burglars managed to break into the vault without triggering alarms, prompting questions over security measures. Authorities have not disclosed suspects or motives, but media reports suggest the thieves may have used a nearby construction site to gain access, raising fears of an organized operation. France has postponed its planned ban on plastic-lined disposable cups until 2030, triggering criticism from environmental groups who say the delay undermines efforts to curb waste. The measure, originally set to take effect on January 1, 2024, would have forced cafes, fast food chains, and supermarkets to phase out cups containing even thin layers of plastic commonly used to prevent leakage. Environmental NGO Zero Waste France condemned the government's decision as a step backwards, arguing that industry should prioritize reusable cup systems rather than rely on new technologies to make plastic less visible or harder to detect. France has positioned itself as a leader in Europe's anti-waste movement, including banning some single-use plastics in recent years, but campaigners say the latest move risks slowing momentum. The hospitality sector, however, has lobbied for more time, warning that an abrupt transition could be costly for small businesses already struggling with inflation and rising energy prices. Chocolate producers in the United Arab Emirates say volatile global cocoa prices are affecting production costs, even as demand for luxury products remains steady. At Al Nasma, the first camel milk chocolate factory in the Gulf region, management says rising costs have changed how chocolate is priced and produced. The company's head compared chocolate prices to coffee, saying consumers may need to adjust to higher costs. Despite a sharp drop in cocoa prices in 2025, following years of increases, producers say market uncertainty remains. Luxury chocolate buyers, however, are less sensitive to price changes, according to industry representatives. Global supply challenges and climate-related impacts continue to influence cocoa markets worldwide. Severe winter conditions have disrupted daily life across several regions of Turkey, bringing heavy snowfall, icy roads, and freezing temperatures. In the eastern city of Kars, emergency medical teams are working around the clock using tracked ambulances to reach patients on roads buried under deep snow. Officials report snow depths of up to 80 centimeters in the city center and more than 1 meter in high-altitude areas. In central Turkey's Kayseri province, icy conditions caused a chain reaction traffic accident involving 14 vehicles. Meanwhile, in the southern province of Antalya, freezing temperatures have raised concerns over frost damage to crops. Farmers carried out overnight measures, including smoke fumigation inside greenhouses, to protect sensitive agricultural produce. Australia massive balloon art exhibition set to open in Melbourne and Sydney. A large-scale balloon art exhibition is set to open in Melbourne and Sydney following a sellout season in New York. Titled Balloon Story, the exhibition transforms indoor spaces into immersive worlds inspired by nature, space, and famous global landmarks. More than 500,000 balloons are being used to construct the displays at the Melbourne Convention and Exhibition Centre. Around 50 balloon artists from different countries are taking part, supported by local volunteers. Organizers say time constraints and the scale of construction present major challenges during the build. The exhibition is expected to attract families and visitors of all ages when it opens to the public in Australia.
What if I told you a story of a place shrouded in mystery and steeped in stones? A place where warriors were born and raised and their path through the mountains still remain to this day. Ajirkot, Gorkha, the unbeaten kingdom.
हामी पाहुनाहरु आउनु हुँदाखेरि हामी यसरी स्वागत गर्छौं अनि अलि नाचगानहरु देखाउँछौं मेरो सिंहो नेपाल गाउँकी गोरखामा गर्व लाग्छ जन्मिएछु साँच्चै स्वर्गमा म त नेपालकी छोरी भन्छन् गोर्खाली जस्तो घाटु चुड्काहरू भन्ने चाहिँ विशेष गरी हुन्छ यहाँ
For those seeking a luxurious escape, there are stunning lodges that offer an indulgent retreat amidst the rugged beauty of this place. But for the true adventurers, this place has it all, from trekking through dense forest of Nagapokari trails to exploring ancient temples and learning the rich history of the region. So, what do you fancy? Are you the solo explorer, or do you prefer luxury within nature? Or perhaps you are the one who seeks to witness it all. Well, after all, life is a box of chocolates, and this place is filled with surprises. Welcome to the place where magic and reality intertwine, where the wonders of nature are both breathtaking and awe-inspiring. From the elevations of 300 meters to a towering 8,000 meters, this place will leave you mesmerized and in awe.
Hello, and we welcome you to NTV World's special program Look Back 2025, where we are taking a look at the major events that marked the gone year 2025. I am Bhavana Kesi. From wars, conflicts, geopolitical shifts to political revolutions, changing global economy to natural disasters to innovation to moments that made us smile, we'll delve into the events that defined 2025 and tell the stories of the world we live in. Conflict, war, and geopolitical dynamics dominated the global headlines in 2025. The war in Ukraine continued into its fourth year, entrenching a prolonged conflict. A fragile ceasefire in the Israel-Gaza conflict that was reached in mid-year has reduced large-scale fighting. Tensions also flared again along parts of the Thailand-Cambodia border, with a ceasefire reached in the end of the year, easing immediate hostilities.
The Ukraine-Russia war has entered its fourth year, continuing to reshape European security, defense spending, and global energy and food markets. Fighting persists in eastern Ukraine, leaving the humanitarian situation critical, while NATO allies face ongoing military and economic pressures. U.S. President Donald Trump launched high-profile diplomatic efforts, meeting Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky at Florida and speaking with Russian President Vladimir Putin, saying the sides are closer than ever to a ceasefire. Key sticking points, including the status of Ukraine's Donbas region, long-term security guarantees, and territorial control, remain unresolved. Russian officials have warned that battlefield tensions could affect negotiations, while Kiev insists any agreement must fully protect Ukrainian sovereignty. Meanwhile, the Israel-Gaza conflict remains a flashpoint in the Middle East, with regional tensions threatening to spill over into neighboring countries. Concerns have intensified over potential involvement by Lebanon, Iran, and maritime routes in the Red Sea, raising fears of a broader regional escalation. International observers continue to call for restraint and repeated outbreaks of violence. In Southeast Asia, tensions along the Thailand-Cambodia border flared in 2025, marking a resurgence of a long-standing territorial dispute. The clashes centered on contested areas linked to historical temple sites and border demarcations. A ceasefire was reached towards the end of year, with officials committing to renewed negotiations to resolve the dispute peacefully and prevent further escalation.
Across the globe, 2025 became a year of youth-led protest. Gen Zs took to the streets in Nepal, Indonesia, the Philippines, Timor-Leste, Mexico, Morocco, Kenya, Madagascar, Peru, demanding good governance, accountability, reforms, better services, and an end to corruption. Bangladesh also continued to experience widespread unrest in 2025, with public grievances over rising social and economic tensions in the country.
Protests erupted across multiple countries, reflecting widespread public frustration over ill governance, corruption, economic hardship, and social injustices. In Nepal, Gen Z demonstrations in early September that erupted demanding good governance, accountability, and end to corruption led to ouster of the KP Sharma-led government. The key government offices, including parliament buildings, ministries, and offices within Srinagar, were gutted during the demonstrations. Indonesia saw mass rallies calling for stricter anti-corruption measures and clearer economic policies, while in the Philippines, youth-led protests demanded good governance and end to rising economic pressures. In Morocco, young demonstrators took to the streets demanding better public services and structural reforms, while in Kenya, citizens are protesting economic policies and growing inequality. Madagascar also saw activism focusing on environmental issues and governance, reflecting broader concerns over resource management. In Peru, large-scale demonstrations were held against the government and recent changes to pension policies. In Mexico, Gen Z youths rallied against corruption and rising crime rates, calling for stronger law enforcement and reforms to improve public safety. The youth protests in the gone year underscore a global pattern of civic activism, with citizens increasingly mobilizing to demand accountability, transparency, and improved economic and social policies.
In 2025, the global economy faced significant headwinds as U.S. President Donald Trump's tariff policies, including higher import taxes on a wide range of goods, reshaped trade flows and raised policy uncertainty worldwide. The International Monetary Fund repeatedly revised its growth outlook throughout the year amid these developments.
The global economy faced mounting challenges as U.S. President Donald Trump's tariff policies triggered a broad trade war, reshaping international trade flows and heightening uncertainty for businesses and policymakers worldwide. Higher import taxes on a wide range of goods, including electronics, steel, and agricultural products, prompted retaliatory tariffs from major trading partners such as China, the European Union, and Mexico, further intensifying market volatility. Economists stressed that unilateral tariff measures undermined the rules-based international trade system and could have long-term consequences for global economic stability. The International Monetary Fund repeatedly downgraded its global growth forecasts, citing the combined impact of protectionist measures, escalating trade tensions, supply chain disruptions, and rising inflation. Concerns were raised that the prolonged tariff war can slow investment, raise costs for consumers and businesses, and stall economic recovery in both developed and emerging markets across the world. In 2025, global financial markets were marked by significant price movements as both the US dollar and gold grabbed investor attention. The US dollar reached record highs against several currencies. Gold prices also surged to historic, with the precious metal repeatedly reaching record price levels above $4,000 per ounce. This combination of currency and commodity trends reflected a complex investment landscape in 2025, where market participants balanced the rising influence of dollar dynamics with the enduring appeal of gold as protection against uncertainty.
2025 was one of the hottest years on record. Extreme weather struck globally. Severe floods displaced millions in South Asia, Southeast Asia, Europe, and East Africa. Cyclones and storms were more frequent, while wildfires raged across North America, the Mediterranean, and Australia. Scientists warn that temporary breaches of 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels are becoming increasingly frequent, highlighting the escalating impact of climate change.
Marine ecosystems faced severe stress as marine heat waves intensified, causing widespread coral bleaching and disrupting fisheries. It has been warned that the loss of reef-based fish stocks threatens food security and the livelihoods of millions of coastal communities, particularly in Southeast Asia and the Pacific. Severe flooding displaced millions across South Asia, parts of Europe, and East Africa, destroying crops and infrastructure and worsening existing humanitarian crises. Countries including Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Thailand, and Colombia were particularly affected, with heavy rainfall inundating urban areas, sweeping away homes, and disrupting transportation and power networks. These floods also highlighted the increasingly erratic rainfall patterns. Large-scale wildfires in North America, the Mediterranean, and Australia, fueled by prolonged droughts and extreme heat, not only destroyed property and ecosystems, but also contributed significantly to carbon emissions, creating a feedback loop that further accelerates global warming. Meanwhile, stronger and wetter cyclones and tropical storms in the Indian Ocean and the Pacific highlighted the link between rising sea surface temperatures and storm intensity. Coastal communities faced fatalities, widespread displacements, and economic losses, exposing the limits of existing infrastructure and disaster response systems in the gone year.
Interestingly, in the gone year, artificial intelligence reshaped global dynamics, moving from a technological tool to a core political and geopolitical issue. Governments around the world raced to regulate AI as concerns grew over deepfakes, automation, and data control, which posed risk to privacy, security, and personal details.
Countries are increasingly viewing AI as a national security and economic priority. The potential for AI to disrupt labor markets, manipulate information, and influence elections has elevated it to the top of policy agendas, while international competition for AI leadership is reshaping geopolitical dynamics. The European Union, the United States, China, and other major powers have unveiled frameworks addressing data privacy, ethical AI use, and algorithmic transparency, although differences in approach are raising questions about global coordination. At the same time, governments and multinational organizations are exploring cooperative mechanisms to establish international norms, highlighting AI's dual nature as both a tool for innovation and a potential source of instability. The year 2025 showed AI is no longer solely a technology sector issue, but a force shaping diplomacy, governance, and security strategies worldwide.
In 2025, space exploration reached new milestones from lunar and Martian missions to advanced satellites monitoring climate and communications. The year also witnessed American singer Katy Perry performing a live song from orbit, blending science and entertainment in a moment that captured global attention.
Space agencies across the globe reported significant achievements in 2025, highlighting both scientific breakthroughs and cultural milestones. NASA, alongside private partners, launched new robotic and crewed missions to the moon, advancing efforts to establish a sustained human presence. At the same time, Russia's Roscosmos conducted crewed orbital missions and advanced lunar research projects, reaffirming its role as a key player in global space exploration. Beyond lunar missions, China and the United Arab Emirates expanded Mars exploration programs, deploying orbiters and surface probes that provided critical data on planetary geology, atmospheric conditions, and potential signs of past water. These missions aim not only to answer fundamental questions about planetary formation, but also to lay the groundwork for future human colonization and interplanetary research. Adding a cultural dimension to 2025's space achievements, American singer Katy Perry performed a live song from orbit, broadcast to audiences on Earth. The event, organized in collaboration with space agencies, symbolized a unique intersection of science, technology, and global culture. Officials said the performance was designed to inspire younger generations to ignite public interest in space exploration.
The world of sports offered moments of triumph. The SC clinched its first UEFA Champions League trophy. Preparations for the expanded FIFA World Cup also continued, promising a more global tournament in 2026.
India marked the return of the ICC Champions Trophy after an 8-year gap by lifting the title for a record third time in the UAE in March. Virat Kohli's century against Pakistan had lit up the group stage, while Rohit Sharma anchored the final with a composed 76 off 83 balls as India chased down 252 to beat New Zealand by 4 wickets. In women's football, England successfully defended its European crown by beating Spain on penalties in the Swiss city of Basel in the final of Euro 2025. England's victorious Lionesses later celebrated their dramatic triumph along with tens of thousands of ecstatic fans outside Buckingham Palace in London. In club football, Paris Saint-Germain PSG claimed its first UEFA Champions League trophy in 2025, thrashing Inter Milan 5-0. The victory not only boosted the club's international profile, but also signaled France's growing influence in European football. Preparations for the expanded 2026 FIFA World Cup continued, with organizers planning to accommodate 48 teams across the host countries, the USA, Mexico, and Canada. Infrastructure projects, including stadium upgrades, transport networks, and fan accommodations, are underway. Officials emphasized that the expanded format aims to make the World Cup more global and inclusive, while also presenting logistical challenges in scheduling, security, and coordination among host nations. However, fan groups have branded the ticket prices as outrageous, with some prices reportedly 3 times higher than those seen at the previous edition of the tournament held in Qatar in 2022.
The year 2025 also witnessed an unusual mix of unusual and bizarre old events that captured public attention worldwide. Among them, a daring heist at France's museum topped headlines, while the craze for Labubu dolls became a global cult.
The daring heist at France's Louvre Museum in 2025 captured global attention as thieves reportedly targeted rare and priceless artworks under highly sophisticated circumstances. Authorities said the operation involved careful planning, advanced tools, and an unprecedented breach of security protocols, raising concerns about the vulnerability of even the world's most iconic cultural institutions. In response, museums and galleries across Europe and beyond tightened security measures, implementing advanced surveillance systems, reinforced display cases, and stricter access controls. The investigation into the Louvre heist continues, with authorities vowing to recover the stolen pieces and bring the perpetrators to justice. If 2025 had a face, it was undoubtedly made of vinyl, with pointy ears, big eyes, and a grin with precisely 9 teeth. Created by Hong Kong artist Ka-Sing Leung and adapted from picture book series The Monsters, the slightly scary-looking Labubu could be seen hanging from everybody's bags in the gone year. Nano Banana and the Studio Ghibli trend emerged as one of the most heartwarming viral moments of 2025, captivating audiences worldwide. Memes also took center stage in 2025, with viral phrases such as "Trump take egg" reflecting public anxiety over inflation. Election of Zohran Mamdani to the post of New York mayor also highlighted the expanding role of digital platforms in shaping political influence, particularly among younger voters, and underscored how internet culture increasingly intersects with contemporary politics. These viral phenomenons of 2025 highlighted how pop culture and digital tools can combine to create shared, uplifting experiences.
That was a recap of 2025, a year that was a mix of conflict, social changes, economic shifts, innovation, and unexpected moments to viral crazes that captured the world's attention. Now, as we turn our eyes to 2026, we hope this year brings peace, progress, and joyful moments. As we say goodbye, we'll leave you with the celebrations of cities welcoming the 2026 with dazzling fireworks, musical performances, and jubilant gatherings. Have a great year ahead.
स्वागत छ लुक्लामा तपाईहरुलाई राम्रोसँग आउनुभयो के प्लेनमा डरहरु लाग्नु भएन प्लेन भित्तैमा ठोकेला जस्तो हुन्छ यहाँ त
At an altitude of 2,860 meters, Lukla is the starting point of arguably one of the best trekking routes in the world, up to the Mount Everest base camp, finishing above 5,400 meters. Ram is one of hundreds of seasonal porters in the route.
अब यो त मान्छेलाई पनि यस्तै हो सजिलो त सर यो किनभने हिलो हुँदैन बेस क्याम्प जाँदा अब क्याम्पको 1000 रुपैयाँ हुन्छ डबल बारी बोकेर अब 2-3 क्याम्प जति हिँडिन्छ त्यतिखेर चाहिँ 5000 जति बस्छ
The route is popular, in fact crowded. This is only for the 2 months of April and May, and so is the profession of Ram a seasonal affair.
अब कुनै खेर पाइन्छ कुनै खेर पाइँदैन मान्छे यतिकै हुन्छ त अब कुनै खेर त अब 4-5 दिन यतिकै बसेकै बजारतिर आयो घुम्यो यतिकै फेरि कोठामा फर्केर आयो अब बाँकी खाना खाँदै बस्यो त्यस्तै हो सर विदेश जाउँ त अब लाग्छ विदेश जानुलाई पनि फेरि अलिक गाह्रै छ पैसा चाहिन्छ अब पैसा छैन त्यो पेसामा पढाइ चाहिँ पुरुषहरू नै हुन्छ महिलाहरू पनि आधी उधी हुन्छ सर बिहानदेखि कहिले अब घाम लागिरहन्छ एकछिनमा यस्तो बादल आइहाल्छ डुममा भइहाल्छ यहाँको मौसम यस्तै हो सर पढेको भए त बाँकी अब सानोतिनो जबहरू हुन्थ्यो कि
Trekkers pass through nearly 6-7 small hamlets along the Lukla-Namche section of the route.
यहाँ सबै घरमा बिजुली पानीको राम्रो व्यवस्था छ सर
The locals do not have infrastructures or might have rejected roads, but they have embraced development.
नाम्चे लुक्ला सबै बाटोभरि नै फोहोर राख्ने बाटो राखिदिनु भएको छ
The topography is inhospitable, but the people are friendly.
यहाँ हरेक गाउँको आफ्नो आफ्नै हाइड्रो बिजुली निकाल्ने पावर छ
Solar panels give much needed warm water to survive the cold. No wonder everything comes at a cost here, charging a cell phone or getting a Wi-Fi connection.
पहिला साह्रै दुःख पाइयो मम्मी सानैमा बित्यो अनि पढ्नै पाएन यस्तो दुःख गर्नु परेछ अब छोराछोरीलाई चाहिँ अब यस्तो दुःख गरेर भए पनि पढाउँछु अङ्ग्रेजी बोल्ने भए त अब कति अब खैराहरू भेट्छन् हिजो पनि 4 जना भेटेको थियो फाल्टो ग्रुप अब अङ्ग्रेजी बोल्न जानिदैन त्यही भएर पठाइदियो ल अब यहाँ चाहिँ खाना खाने ठाउँ हो यहाँ खाना खानु पर्यो
हजुर सबभन्दा धेरै थुक्पा नै हो किनभने अरू खाजा पनि जान्छ नि त जानु त बनाएर जान्छ तर त्यो सकिहाल्दैन भने फेरि त्यो बिग्रिन्छ कि अमिलो
Food is no more cooked in firewood like in the past, despite LP gas cylinders arriving either on humans' back or the beast of burdens. Our first day trek concludes at Phakding, a small hamlet at an altitude of 2610 meters. Almost all trekkers lodge here on the first day to acclimatize themselves for higher elevations. The place has amenities for travelers at par with an urban town, except roads and infrastructures.
यहाँ यो फलामको चिम्नी नभएको त गरै हुँदैन सर यहाँ त फलामको चिम्नी भएन भने त जाडोले मरिहाल्छ
As the dawn breaks, Ram emerges from his overnight elopement for lodging.
अब जाने होला सर उकालो यो अलिक सपना बिग्रियो अनि त्यति राम्रो सुतेन सपनामा त खै कस्तो अचम्मक सपना देख्यो सपनामा चाहिँ बुढी चाहिँ अर्कैसँग गएको देखेको खै केही कुरामा चाहिँ डिस्केस भएको जस्तो भयो अनि त्यहाँबाट चाहिँ कपडा सपडा प्याक गरेर हिँडेको सपना देख्यो के गर्न सकिएन खै कहिले के गर्ने हो मान्छे बुढी राम्रो छ सपना चाहिँ त्यस्तो देखेँ कस्तो अचम्म लाग्यो बुढी फेरि मभन्दा ठुलो छ कि मभन्दा त राम्रै पनि छ ठुलो पनि छ त्यस्तो सपना देख्दा चाहिँ कुनै खेर चाहिँ अब डर पनि लाग्छ क्या बा पछि अब छोडेर हिँडिने हो कि आफूसँग केही नभएपछि त होइन बा अब हिँडिने हो कि जस्तो पनि लाग्छ यो सागो हो यो सागो चाहिँ काठको बनाएको यो बर्खामा ठुलो पानी आउँछ ठुलो खोला हुँदाखेरि त बगाएर लगिहाल्छ फेरि बनाउँछ यो चाहिँ पारी घाँस दाउराको लागि बनाउँछ
The Kumbh region has more than a dozen suspension and concrete bridges to safely cross the Dudh Kosi, meaning Milk White Kosi and its tributaries. As we continue our steep climb towards Namche Bazaar, we pass through freshly felled pine trees.
यो चाहिँ घरको लागि काठ काटेको हो यो घरको काठ काट्दाखेरि चाहिँ यो निस्केको दाउरा हो सर यो दाउरा अब सधैँभरि फुल्दैन कुनै बेला फुल्दाखेरि चाहिँ काट्ने
Only permitted numbers are cut every year, while the locals do not forget to grow pine saplings in their backyard to replace the cut ones. This is the entry point of Sagarmatha National Park, a buffer zone guarded by Nepal Army. The small hamlet of around 200 houses is no less than a modern town as we venture around the next morning with Ram. We not only discover Ram's free-of-cost night laws, but also a secret tavern where porters gather to gamble.
टुरिस्ट आएन भने त अब यहाँ त अब गाह्रो छ नि सर अब आलु मात्रै फलाएर अब के खानु यहाँ त्यो पनि अब आलु धेर फल्दैन कम फल्छ टुरिस्ट आएन भने त धेरै गाह्रो छ सर अब छनु त छ कि अझ यो भन्दा राम्रो यो भन्दा नि अब राम्रो अब घरहरू बनाओस् राम्रो सरसफाइ होस् अब राम्रो सुविधा होस् न त्यहाँदेखि चाहिँ आउँछ यहाँ त अब त्यस्तो मोटरहरू आयो भने त फेरि हामीलाई गाह्रो भइहाल्छ नि सर अब हामी फेरि अब हामी पोटरहरू फेरि त्यतिकै हुन्छ बेरोजगार हुन्छ अब हाम्रो त अब खै जिन्दगी त अब यस्तोले त अब गाह्रै हो तर अब के गर्नु त सर अब खासै अब केही अब गर्ने बाटै छैन हाम्रो अब यही नै हो हाम्रो
A phone call from Lukla upsets us more than Ram as he misses a much better opportunity to accompany trekkers to the base camp. The weather remains unfavorable as we fail to catch a glimpse of the Mount Everest. With a bit of dejection for not being able to see the roof of the world, we start our journey back to Lukla. On the way, Ram gives us a good news. He got another lucrative trip.
अब चाहिँ अलिक चाँडो जानु पर्ला हो सर अब अझै म फेरि फर्केर नाम्ची पुग्नु पर्ने छ
Back at Lukla, Ram prepares himself for the 14-day trip to the base camp with high hopes for making decent earning. It's time to part now, as Ram bids us goodbye in a haste in Lukla to make his dream come true. A roof for his wife and education for his little princess.
At every bend of the serpentine Bheri River, a new face of nature emerges. Each turn revealing a beauty so varied and mesmerizing that it moves the heart moment by moment. Traveling from Chinchu of Surkhet through Jare and Mehelkuna toward Gorbakot, the Bheri displays its quiet miracles. Over its crystal blue flow drifts the rustle and chirping of dozens of birds. The whisper of nearby trees merges with the vast blue sky, reflecting a harmony of natural splendor. Cutting through Chinchu, heading along the proud and scenic terrain of Gurbhakot, our thoughts find themselves racing steadily along the Madan Bhandari highway toward Lake Besi in Surkhet. Our destination, the Raute settlement. We seek to observe closely the lifestyle of this indigenous group, long perceived as distant. We hope to feel a sense of closeness with a community rarely encountered, where the Raute, in their most authentic form, stand before us to share their stories. The Raute have cultivated a unique identity as Nepal's nomadic ethnic group. If someone in their settlement dies, they immediately abandon that location and do not return for 10 years, a tradition that makes permanent settlement extremely challenging. Their temporary homes are built by fixing wooden stakes into the ground, tying cross pieces, and covering the structure with old cloth and tarpaulin.
सधैँभरि यो पुर्खा मेरो पुर्खौली त्यस्तो छ त्यस्तो नभइदिए भए एक ठाउँमा बस्ने थियो एक ठाउँमा नभए यो हजुरलाई हल्दुवार यो घर बनाउँछौँ त्यस्तो घर हामी मन पर्दैन मेरो मन परेको यही यस्तै चिरपाल तागा तागाको राम्रो हुन्छ हामीले यस्तै मन पराउँछ यही गाडो लगाएर राम्रो मान्छौँ अब पहिला हेर्न जानु पर्यो पहिला सबै त्यो हेर्न तपाई आफै यो हामी आफू त जाँदैन केटाउडु जान्छ त केटाउडु गएर फेरि हेरेर ठाउँ राम्रो छ कि नराम्रो छ कि भनेर ठाउँ यो जहाँ ठाउँ राम्रो भयो त्यही जाने यस्तै पाखामा को बस्न सक्छ र यस्तै समूह जग्गा त चाहियो.
Especially during winter, protecting themselves from the cold becomes difficult. They sleep on the bare ground with only thin tarpaulins, not enough clothing to cover their bodies fully. Men wear a loincloth and wrap their backs with coarse cloth, knotted in front and falling to the thighs, with a cap or a small turban on their heads. Women wear a short, patterned skirt of rough fabric and a handmade blouse that covers only part of the torso and chest. Women adorn themselves with earrings, necklaces and bracelets made of iron, brass and aluminum. When we visited in late Kartik, the cold had already set in, yet the Raute sat on the ground as usual. Even when ill, they rely solely on their chieftain, traditional healing practices and herbal remedies. The Raute tell that the community consists of 3 clans, Katyal, Raskoti and Samalvanshi Shahi. According to the National Census of 2021, Raute population stands at 566. It was 618 in the 2011 census.
बात यो कोही मान्छे यो पहिला त आया थिएन अब आजभोलि त यो सामान पनि आउँछ भट्टा पनि लाग्यो हो कि होइन सामान पनि आउँछ यो तिरपाल पनि आउँछ ब्ल्याङ्केट आउँछ खाना पुग्यो त भइयो अब भोकै मरेको छैन के अरे बाहिरबाट आए भने कामधारी त गर्नु पर्यो हो कि होइन त्यो काम कुशी बनाउनु पर्यो मधुस बनाउनु पर्यो खाद बनाउनु पर्छ अब दराजहरू हामी बनाउँदैन हजुर.
Traditionally, the Raute have lived in the forests, ravines and riverbanks of districts like Dailek, Jajarkot, Surkhet, Acham, Salyan, Dang and Kalikot. They dwell in the wilderness, hunt monkeys and carve wooden utensils which they exchange for grain in nearby villages. It's a cycle that sustains their livelihood. The Raute have distinct marriage customs. After marriage, a separate area is set aside for the couple. According to Raute belief, a widow should not remarry after her husband's death. Marriages occur strictly within their own community between Raute youths. Apart from cooking pots at home, an axe for cutting trees, and a chisel-like tool for shaping wood, the Raute do not store belongings. Men prefer to hunt monkeys using traps, while women gather wild roots and tubers. With just an axe and chisel, they craft wooden utensils. Once, the Rauti believed touching money would bring misfortune. They also avoided speaking with outsiders. But today, they readily ask anyone for money, an indicator of the slow transformation in their lifestyle and consumption habits.
मेरो नाम फुलमाया। कति वर्षको भयो? म 18 भयो। अनि स्कुल जान्छ जाँदैन? स्कुल त जान थियो पहिला त जान दिएन। आज बोले पनि स्कुल जान दिन्न। कसले? मुखियाले। किन नि? मुखियाले नि पढ्न लेख्न दिन्न त नि। किन होला त त्यस्तो? खै के पो होला नि मुखियाले दिन्न नि। पढ्न जान त मन त लाग्छ तर पढ्न दिन्न।
In recent years, increasing dependence on alcohol has begun to create serious health issues within the community.
कहीं न कहीं यो यहाँ जंगल में बसने बाजार हेर्न जाने भर चिस्टोडा आडा महिने मान्छेमा कसैले बजार को नसाई हुन्छ त्यो नास हेर्न जाने कसैले यो मौसुक लाग्छ चिस्टो मौसुक यो जंगलबाट मौसुक हेरे पनि झन् आउन मान्छे यो मेरो परिवर्तन नगर्ने मान्छे परिवर्तन गरेको कहिले पनि राम्रो भन्दैन हामी मेरो पुर्खैबाट यो परिवर्तन नगरेको मान्छे परिवर्तन गरेको यो पैसा चाहिँ आँखाले पैसा चिनेता भइहाल्यो।
Nepal's constitution not only recognizes the equal existence, rights and dignity of all ethnic groups, but also ensures fair protection, upliftment, empowerment and development of marginalized and endangered communities. The state has pledged equal distribution of economic, social and cultural opportunities with special provisions for the protection and advancement of disadvantaged people within minority groups. Although the federal and provincial governments have introduced various programs for the Rauti community in recent years, the lives of the Rauti have yet to see the meaningful improvement